A little quick note before we begin. Humans are very complex creatures, myself included. None of us are all good, none of us are all bad, and usually we're both at the same time, in some measure. I go hard on Phil in this video because I think fundamentally many of the things, the viewpoints that he shares with his audience, which is vastly, largely a black audience, I just think is wrong. Just fundamentally, it's wrong at the basic level of human psychology. It's not wrong at the level of kind of racial politics or being black or being white. It is wrong at the fundamental level of human psychology. I don't care what color you are. There are certain things that are going to lead to success, and there are other things that just don't have a good track record for success. And I think he shares a lot of those bad ideas on a regular basis, and it does no service to black people. It keeps black people in a depressed state, and he pushes them further down every time he says negative, defeatist kinds of language, continually creating doubt and fear and a sense of futility. That doesn't matter, that you can't do anything. I just can't buy it, man. Phil, on the other hand, I have watched some of your other content. I do sense, as I said in the video, I do sense that you have a heart. I do sense that there's a genuine and sincere place in you, and I have seen that. It was much better in your advice show than it was in this African diaspora news content. Brother, you took a left turn there, and it looks like it's successful for you. It is not successful for the people that watch it. My 2 cents. On with the show. Humans! Check out the new art. My son, Father's Day gift from my son. Very proud of his talent and him continuing to push it and explore the ways that he can continue to grow as a creator. Today we're going to highlight someone that I think really deserves greater attention, particularly in the black community. We have a lot of what we call success coaches, right? People who will teach you how to be successful in any number of ways, right? Teach you how to be more successful dating men or women. They can teach you how to be more financially successful. They can coach you on financial success. They can coach you on just, your physical, transformation, lose weight, get a beach body. There are coaches for almost anything that you can imagine. And most of them are focused on success. But there is also a group but not everybody wants to be successful, okay? There are a group of people who want to fail and don't want to succeed. And so a whole new crop of coaches has appeared, and I call them failure coaches. And I wanted to highlight one of the best black failure coaches on YouTube. He may be elsewhere. I think he now has an app as well. So go to the iTunes store or the Google Play store and download it. I recommend it. I think it is the Black Diaspora app. Please download it if you are looking to fail. Because Phillip Scott is really a tremendous failure coach. I think that I've watched lots and lots of his videos, and I have truly come to respect the quality of his game. I've seen a lot of people try to teach people how to fail with really bad ideas and bad techniques. I don't think anybody does it any better than Phillip, though. I mean, he consistently brings that failure game, video after video after video. But before we get into the details of exactly how he does what he does, I want to give him some props. I've already given him some flowers. He's good. He's good at this failure coach thing. So and I know that being good at anything requires practice, right? People who really succeed in any given thing, I don't care what your profession is, if you really practice it, you will get better. And he has practiced, and he's gotten really, really good at this failure thing. And I bet he probably has a whole bunch of students. I haven't seen any testimonials out of the students in his community who listen to his daily failure advice, but I bet if you went and talked to them, you could find some stories where they would say, I was kind of successful and I was doing all right, and then but something was missing in my life, right? I knew something was missing. And then I, stumbled across Phillip, and he had a advice show on YouTube, and then more recently, I think he's become fabulously successful with the Black Diaspora Network or channel. I stumbled on him, and I felt like I had found the answer I'd been looking for all my life. I found out I needed failure in my life. I needed to fail. I needed to, the success had kind of gone to my head, and so I needed to kind of bring myself down. I needed to take my income from here to here. I needed to take my social skills from here to here, because he teaches a lot of things about how to react and interact with other races, particularly white people, that I think are particularly effective in creating bad relationships. And if that's what you're looking for, man, he's got it. He's got it in spades. Okay. When I began this video, I thought that I would find some examples of some of his teachings and create some clips from some of his some of his YouTube videos. But on second thought, I don't want to steal, right? Because Phil is very sensitive about the white man stealing from black people. So I don't want to steal. So I'll just tell you some things that I've seen, and if you'd like, you can go find them. Please look up his channel. I've got a link in the description below. So one of the stories that I remember about Phil was when he was talking about, Phil thinks that generally speaking, white people don't want to see black people succeed at all, and have all kinds of nefarious plans that that they coordinate in order to prevent black people from being successful, and that's why black people don't enjoy the success that they might aspire to, is because of all of these evil machinations by white people. So, and he finds evidence of that in many ways. He was once describing a trip that he took to maybe Africa or someplace, where he was on an airplane and was in first class. And how, as he sat down, first class loads first, yeah, and then all of the coach passengers will be loading. And so he was commenting on how, as those people were walking down the aisle toward him, many of them were looking at him, and his interpretation of that was that they were surprised to see a black man. What are you doing here, black man? You don't deserve to be here in first class. And Phil, being the brother that he is, said, so I just looked at them and gave him my business. Yeah. And so he really shows you how in that moment, if someone is looking at you and you really have figured out exactly what's on their mind, even without them telling you what's on their mind, but you have figured it out because you're a mind reader, and Phil's a very good mind reader. Because if you're a really excellent mind reader and you're able to look at people's, even just a second glance, as they're walking by you, as they're walking down the aisle on a plane, just a second glance at you, his ability to kind of extract exactly what was behind that glance and that look at you, and to formulate a theory on why you did that and what you were trying to say and what you wanted him to do as a result of, you giving him that look. I mean, that's a gift, man. That's a gift, ESP level kind of gift. But he said that, he was able to figure that out, that, people would walk by, and so he just kind of give him one of those "who you looking at, motherfucker" kind of looks. Yeah, and so if just to play devil's advocate, because I'm crazy like that every once in a while, I've ridden first class a few times, and I've had people look at me quite a number of times. I think what happens in first class is that the general perception is that people who are in first class have a higher level of affluence, and may even possibly have some level of celebrity. I've ridden on a lot of plane rides in first class where there in fact were celebrities. So every once in a while you get lucky, and so you got to kind of check it out as you're moving through first class just to see who's there, and you might look and see somebody that you recognize, and man, that's cool. Yeah, I saw so and so. And for Phil, as it relates to Phil, now Phil's a big brother. Phil's a big piece of man. I think Phil probably is at least 6 feet tall. He may be 6'3" or so, and he looks like he's a healthy dude. I bet he's at least 220, 230. So he's a big. You look at him on screen, and big shoulders, and I bet he probably, if I guess right, he probably played football in high school, and I bet he was probably a defensive lineman. Could be an offensive lineman, but he's got that kind of build. He's got that kind of size. And sometimes when you're going in first class, every once in a while there are professional athletes among those celebrities that I've mentioned. And if you were coming down the aisle in first class and you saw a large black man of that size, you might think that he could be a professional athlete. Yeah. And so you kind of look at him and, do I know you? Who are you? So there's sometimes people will kind of give you that, should I know who you are? But no, this happens in a split second, because people when they move down the aisle through first class, they're not stopping in their tracks and going, No, they keep it moving, just moving right by you. So there may be a quarter of a second, a half second kind of interaction, which again is this brilliant gift that Phil has to be able to diagnose a person's mental state and their emotional intentions and all that stuff, and that quickly. So he's just got that radar. What is racist dar? Can we call it racist dar? So I'm just saying that might be an explanation, that when people are moving through first class, sometimes they think there might be a celebrity, might be somebody famous, and that could be I've sat next to celebrity chefs, I've seen famous musicians, I've seen famous athletes. The other night I was at a restaurant and I saw Dr. J was at a table, just a few feet away. And yeah, it's cool. I love celebrity sightings. I didn't bother him. P.S. I didn't go up and ask. Although I had his picture on my wall as a young boy. So that's a possibility, right? You're walking down the aisle, you look, but no, follow Phil's advice. If you want to fail in social interactions, make a snap judgment on what someone's intent is with a little glance at their face. If they look at you, just make a really snap judgment and go to the worst possible interpretation of why they may have looked at you. Eliminate all the other possibilities. I suggested a couple of possibilities now. Eliminate all those and go to the worst interpretation. What are you doing here because you're black? You don't deserve to be here. All of that kind of stuff, go to that and then give those people the business. Okay. You read their mind. You understood exactly what was going on in that very brief moment of interaction. Give them the fucking business, and maybe give everybody else, after that first person, the rest of those white people come in, if they glance at you, it's going to be the same kind of bullshit on their mind. Go ahead and give them the business too. Why don't you just fix your face for everybody as they walk by, just so they know not to fuck with you. So do that, okay? And Phil does a good job in this episode that I read this. I saw him tell this story. He does a good job of giving you kind of the right facial expression. Yeah, so you mean mug them. Give them that mean mug. And that'll teach them. That'll teach them the next time they see a brother in first class not to look at him. Okay? Can we extend that to everybody else? Maybe you shouldn't look at anybody in first class, right? Just mind your business and keep it moving. Okay, so mean mug people that you think have something on their mind that might be negative about you, so give them the mean mug. People who look at you, if you're in first class and people look at you, it is because they think you don't deserve to be there, and maybe your whole people don't deserve to be in this thing. And what else? Mean mug, read minds. Okay, maybe that's it. But do those things and see how they turn out. If you've been doing really well in your social interactions with people, particularly other people of other races, and you kind of had a good feeling about your sociability and your ability to kind of navigate through different kinds of situations with different kinds of people from around the world and different ethnicities and different races and all that. If you're doing pretty good at that and you need to really just stop doing good at it, do some of this, okay, and see how it turns out. The other thing that I thought was really good was Phil was talking about cultural appropriation. One of Phil's really big things is that white people are only in the position they are in because they have stolen everything they have. White people are only in the position they are in because they have stolen everything they have. They have never created anything. It's all stolen. And a lot of it is stolen from black people. And they steal language, they steal your history. White people have stolen, they steal everything from black people. So, he was going on about how bad it was and giving lots of examples. And what I found interesting as Phil was doing this is that Phil was wearing a cowboy hat and a cowboy shirt. Has the buttons and the fancy pockets and the pearl buttons on it and the kind of shoulders and the print and the big white cowboy hat with a big brim. He was looking sharp. Look, Phil is from Texas, Houston, I believe, and so I was glad to see that he was sharing some of his native African fashion, just to give us an example of what the white man has stolen from him. And I guess that he was kind of reclaiming that for black people. So he was going to be proud about featuring the some of this original fashion from the African culture. The cowboy hat and the cowboy shirt. He may have had some jeans on and some cowboy boots. He didn't stand up and show that, but that would have been a good thing too, just to kind of round out the whole picture, to show that not only did the steal the hat and the shirt, he also stole the big shiny belt buckle and the boots and all that. He stole the whole damn ensemble, right? I wish Phil had given us the tribe in Africa where this style comes from. I'm familiar with lots of African tribes and have done, on behalf of some client work I've done, and just out of my own interest in self-education, I've studied a good amount of fashion in Africa, and I have not seen the cowboy hat thing yet. I have not seen the shirts and the boots and the jeans and the big buckles, but if Phil said, white people steal everything, then I'm sure that somewhere in Africa there is a tribe that's walking around looking like Phil, right? Wearing big hats and belt buckles and boots. Yeah. So I hope that next time Phil will please, show us the source of that fashion and how the black man, the story. Well, what's the backstory behind how white men came in and stole that fashion from this black tribe. So that by the time you have finished watching one of his podcasts, you're probably going to be thinking, man, those white people are just demons, they're devils, aren't they? And that's the kind of energy that you need to carry inside of you as you go out into the world. And then one of my very favorite bits of advice from Phil that I think just will guarantee failure. If you've tried a lot of things and you just keep on succeeding and I'm sick of this success, I got to start failing some because I've had it up to here with success. Then his advice about complaining as a strategy for getting what you want is to be a complainer. And I think he was reading an email or some communication from one of the people that watch his videos, and they were saying, why are you always... Now, this was obviously someone who had not signed up for his failure program, but they were saying, why are you always complaining about white people and blaming everything on white people? Why don't you ever just encourage black people to go out and do the thing that they want to do for themselves instead of expecting white people to come and fix things for them? Why don't you go and actually do it? If you want this thing and it's not happening, go do it. Go make it happen, okay? And Phil was quick to correct him that wasn't necessary. Why go out and build it yourself when you can complain about it and get other people to do the thing for you, to help you do that thing that you want? Because I guess you're not able to do it yourself, right? So if you complain enough, then people will do something. And so I think that's what his general recommendation for ultimate failure is. So I have some big clients that I've never been able to land their business. Some folks I've always wanted to work for, really big companies that do things that I admire. And I've wanted to handle their branding. And I've just not been able to do it. There's, right time, right place, right intersection of need and want and my ability and, all that stuff. So, but at least that's what I thought. I was putting it on me. I was putting the responsibility on me that I had not marketed effectively enough to them. I had not given them a good enough offer. I had not established enough relevance. I had not put myself in front of them often enough. I hadn't, tried hard enough or often enough to really win them as clients. So I thought that was the way that I was blaming myself and putting the responsibility on me. The problem is them. And I'm going to complain about it. Nike, I'm going to protest. I'm going to complain and protest, and I'm going to go around online and make protest videos and complaint videos that complain about why hasn't Nike ever hired me, and my theories about why they've never hired me, and complaints. And if I get some time, I might organize a protest, and we might hire Rick. Nike, stop oppressing Rick. And if we put enough public pressure on Nike, and if we complain loudly enough, then maybe Nike will hire me. We'll make them feel guilty. We'll put pressure on them. We'll, continue to make them look bad out in, online by our complaint videos, and we'll just kind of put the pressure on them to hire me. I just never thought about that. I've been doing this a long time. I read the Harvard Business Review. I've taken some sales training courses. I've studied some business at the university. I've done, I thought I kind of knew how to succeed in business by, targeting a list of people that you want to work with and learning about their business and finding out what you think they need are, what their needs are, and how you can help solve a problem that you perceive, and then putting together a pitch and, persistently, you get a no the first time, you just keep on being persistent and keep on knocking on the door, and eventually the door will open and you get your opportunity and you make your pitch, and if you're really good, then you're going to win it. And you make the money and you land the client, and I thought that was the way to do it. I was so wrong. I need to be complaining. And now, when my kids, and now I think about, my son is an aspiring entrepreneur, and had I not watched Phil, I would have said, son, I want you to go out, and I just want you to be the most incredible version of yourself that you can be. I want you to be so good at what you do that you cannot be denied. Tiger Woods was so good at what he did, he could not be denied. It was impossible. It was going to be impossible to deny Tiger. You could try, but you could not stop him. So that was the kind of thing I would have told him. No more. No more. I don't want you to focus on excellence. I don't want you to focus on preparing yourself to be the best competitor on the court, the best competitor in this industry that you want to participate in. No. I want you to be the loudest complainer, because Phil says that's the way that you're going to succeed. That's the way black people are going to succeed, by complaining, not by doing. If there's something that black people want to accomplish and they are not yet accomplishing it, then job one is to complain loudly enough and often enough that white people feel guilty enough to give it to you, or to set up some program to help you do it. Because black people are incapable of doing it by themselves. Right? You can't do it without help. You're not able. So, son, this is the thing you do. I want you to watch him. And I know, son, I had told you in the past that, one of the great American traditions, and it may be something from around the world, but it's a particularly American tradition, that each generation wants their children to do better than they did, right? And so far, it's been working out in my family for a few generations. We kind of, my parents never went to college. They did graduate high school, never made a lot of money, but they did something with me, and they told me this: you can be anything you want to if you work hard enough. Bullshit. And I believed it, because I hadn't learned about Phil yet. And so I kept on, I believed that, and I did that. And I went out and I built a business, and I made a little bit of money, and had a couple of kids. And I think that they may do better than me. I hope they do. That's my goal, is to prepare them with all the things that I've learned, so that they can go on and take us to the next level, take our family to the next level. And I had hoped that I would teach them that would be their goal for their children, to just keep on taking us higher. And it's not just about material success. I would want them, based on my old thing, I would want them to pass along the lessons they've learned about what a good life is. And it's not just about having the most toys. That, the way you treat people, the way you develop yourself, your ethics, the kind of person you are, the standards that you set for yourself, how helpful you are to others. I've been kind of teaching them all of that, thinking we could continue this tradition of kind of being successful, being more successful by the generation. I'm having second thoughts. And I think that the next generation of the Julians, I want to fail. I want them to do worse. So I'm going to teach them some of this stuff that Phil has, and, knock down their aspirations and knock down their belief that they can do anything they want to do if they work hard enough. No. You can do anything you want to do if you complain loud enough, young man, young woman. So Phil, thank you. Thank you. I feel that I have moved through life with blinders on, and that I have just been oblivious to some of the potential for failure that was right in front of me. I was ignoring failure by doing these other things, and now I have the blueprint for failure. And you are sharing it with the world. Man, what a gift. Peace.